Hey sneak peekers, I'm Anna and I'm here on the red carpet of On Swift Horses at South by Southwest to talk to the cast and crew. So I'm obsessed with your career, and I know that you just did Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Yes.
That show holds a special place in my heart because I did it my senior year of high school.
Did you play? Were you lucky?
I played Big Mama.
That's a great character.
I loved her.
She's amazing. She's like I think she's such a brilliant character.
She's amazing. I miss her every day. So I know both Cat and On Swift Horses are set in the 50s. How was transitioning between both projects and like maybe the accent or just being in the 50s? How was that transition for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was really. I loved working in that kind of world, and I especially with this film, I loved the clothes and the period of them all, and finding out kind of how to fill into that space. But yeah, I think it's funny, like in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, she has a southern accent, and it seems to be what I've done for the last 5 years, which is weird because I am incredibly British, but yeah, I love it. I think I feel like that accent and that kind of character really lent itself to it, because she's kind of this sort of ferocious human that I just loved inhabiting a cat. Exactly.
Love that. And I need to know, what was it like being in a situationship with Will Poulter and Jacob Elordi? I mean, that was my challenger.
And Sasha.
Yes, and Sasha.
I mean, what a great place to be.
Right.
I love that dynamic of the movie. I love that kind of exploration of young love and passion and sexuality, and I think I loved being in that triangle, quadruple. I mean, not
Square?
Yeah,
Circle. And lastly, since we are the Longhorns, I would love if you could do it with the hook-em to the camera.
Yeah, I lived in Oklahoma for 5 months shooting Twisters, and I learned all about this.
Yes. From Glenn. Thank you so much. I want to know more about your character and who you play in this beautiful love story.
So my character's name is Sandra. She is a Latina living in San Diego. She plays this 12-string instrument that's like this little. It's called a bandurria, okay? I know. And she raises some chickens and sells some eggs. And then a hot girl walks into her house, and stay tuned for the rest.
So just like you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
How are your chickens? How are your eggs?
My chickens are doing good. I'm
just playing.
Names. I was like, Hector is, killing it. Margarita was vibing. She was dancing like this.
Oh my God. Thank you. And this also has nothing to do with the film, but I know you were talking to Chapel Roan at Paris Fashion Week the other day.
Yeah,
what were you talking?
Sweet. She's just really sweet. I don't know. She was just kind. It was her first show, and it was just a chat.
Nothing crazy?
No, she's so sweet. She was so friendly and so kind.
I love that. We love seeing just women in general, successful women together.
I think so too.
You and Daisy, you and Kat.
There you go.
How was that in the movie?
It's incredible. Kat, have you seen the movie?
I have not.
Okay, you're gonna love it. Well, Kat's role is
I'm gonna watch it right now.
She's so feisty. She's like sneaky. Her hands go places in this movie. I'm like, damn, Kat. Yes, but everybody's beautiful in this movie. Yeah.
And obviously, as a queer person, how do you feel like your queerness was represented in this film? And especially in that era where queerness was not celebrated, how do you feel like Daniel tackled that?
I think that Sandra's just very confident in herself and who she is. And there's a really beautiful scene where we get to see her book club, and we kind of see the inside of her world and her community. And I think Muriel, through her discovery, finds interest in that, and I think that that's Muriel Daisy's whole awakening. Yeah.
I'm so excited to watch it. And I want to know, how was transitioning from your previous work onto this film? Obviously, it's nothing like Supergirl.
Yeah, I was just excited to play a queer role, to be honest with you. I think I was excited to play a strong queer woman. Yeah, I was really excited about that.
Is that what made you jump onto this?
For sure. Yeah.
I love that. And what was your favorite memory on set?
Working with Daisy was my favorite memory on set. I mean, we had our scenes were consolidated, but she's just so lovely and makes it all easy, and all of our scenes were so much fun. And yeah, she's a kind, magical human being.
Love that. I wish I could keep talking to you, but I'm not going to hold you any longer. ¿Y me puedes decir un poquito más sobre tu personaje en esta película?
Claro, Henry es un migrante en Estados Unidos, es un personaje queer, es un personaje que, aunque es muy libre, todavía tiene que esconderse, ¿no? Es una película de época y estoy muy enamorado de Henry en realidad porque está lleno de cicatrices, tiene como un pasado que no tienes que descubrir en la película, ¿no? Solo sabes que viene de una situación complicada. Para mí Henry es como un perro callejero, entonces me encanta.
¿Y crees que tu nacionalidad mexicana está bien representada y en esta película siendo basada en Estados Unidos?
Yo creo que sí, sobre todo porque no hay necesidad de decirlo. Creo que a veces la representación más interesante es la que no es panfletaria, la que no parece como de panfleto, ¿sabes? De propaganda. Y Henry solo resulta que es mexicano, es un personaje, nada más.
¿Y cómo crees que trajiste tu propia experiencia de vida a Henry?
Pues creo que la calle te da algo de carisma, ¿no? Entonces creo que un poco así, la situación de ser medio bandido. Creo que extrañamente a mí la patineta, ¿no? Que es algo que siempre me ha gustado, me dio mucha calle y la pude como mostrar con Henry. Henry es una especie de sobreviviente.
I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to ask you more about your character and this whole movie as a whole.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm really honored to be playing Gail. Let's start there. Like, Gail is the ultimate code switcher. Like, she may or may not be a mob wife, but she is living in her high femme reality while also maintaining her access to a world that is fully expressive for her, where she has full connections, full life. She's kind of, to me, a polyamorous queen because I feel like she just, like, her husband is cool with whatever. Ah, you sexy motherfucker! I just have to say, I've been in interviews since I saw a parade of people literally faint at your feet. So
What are you talking about?
it just happened. You know what I'm talking about. I saw it. Yeah, you're right.
She's too nice to me, you know?
I'm really nice. I'm a really nice guy.
So nice to me.
You guys are lovely.
I mean, listen, everyone who did this film just loves each other, you know? It's like, it starts with the script. We love the script.
What was that culture like on set?
The culture was just so lovely, you know? When you make an indie film, people choose to do it because they love the script. And we were lucky that obviously the script also came from a book that was iconic. I'm obsessed with Shannon Pufall. She was actually the first person I met at a press event for one of these things I was just like, hey, writer to writer, you're the OG. And also she low-key looks like my mom. So I was like, please, like, be my best friend. But anyway, Shannon Pufall is an icon. She wrote this book, and I'm so lucky that Dan Minahan chose to make this a film. And the cast, I could not be more excited to be in the company of these people. I mean, they're like soulful humans who just said yes to a good story. And so it was warm. It was really a warm place to be.
So you were talking more about the layers of Gail and how like you took inspiration from all these things to play her. What were the layers you had to go through as an actor to find that within you?
Honestly, I super relate to Gail. Like, I am a queer person, I'm a non-binary person, I'm a trans person, and I am mostly perceived to be a high femme hottie, as you might be able to understand. But honestly, like, I give myself the permission to express myself in any costume. And the one that's most culturally celebrated is the femme blondie, whatever it's giving. But I respect Gail for the fact that she didn't pander to anybody in her community. She just chose to be like whatever made her feel most powerful. She was like, fuck, capitalism will celebrate me in a corset, I'm doing that. And I think it's a version of being boss and queer in her era.
So tell me more about the queerness in that era in the 50s. How was that role played in the movie?
I mean, to be honest, I wasn't there. But I was raised by a queer parent, and she was in a totally different era than I am now. And the worries she had for me when I came out, she thought that I was choosing a less safe life, a less celebrated life. And so to understand that, like, every generation we get a little bit further, we get a little bit safer, we get a little more comfortable in our safety, like, I'm very grateful to have as much freedom as I do to paint myself in any color now. But I love Gail so much for smartly moving through the world in a way that made her feel safe and also give her pleasure.
Perfect. So I love what you're doing with this movie, and since this is a novel adaptation, I want to know what your vision was for telling this story in this specific way.
I think when we set out to tell this story, it was important to me that even though it was period, that it was very accessible. So I knew that I wanted to make a movie where the emotion was forward and it wasn't pretending to be an old-fashioned movie. It wasn't about, oh, this is like a movie that was made in the 1950s. No, this is yeah, I wanted it to feel relevant, I wanted it to feel accessible, and I wanted you to feel what the characters were feeling more than anything.
Tell me a little bit more about those characters. I know they're super intriguing.
Yeah, there's Muriel, who's, newly married in a very traditional relationship with Lee, her husband. There's Lee, who's the antagonist of the piece, who is the nicest guy and the best husband, but he's married to a person who's not all there. She's not all comfortable with being confined this way. There's his brother, Julius, played by Jacob Elordi, who is a card sharp and a hustler and a cheat, kind of a cheat, and he comes into their lives and kind of upends everything and creates a very intense relationship a very intense relationship comes together between Muriel and Julius.
So obviously, aside from the novel, where else did you draw inspiration from for the vision of this movie?
Well, interestingly, we didn't watch a lot of old films. The inspiration for this visually came from documentary photography and paintings from the period. I didn't want to imitate movies, so I was looking at photographers like Gordon Parks, his color photography. I was looking at a photographer named Bruce Davidson, who is a documentary photographer, photographed a lot of gangs in the 50s and 60s. And then there were painters that we found that were vignettes of contemporary life that felt relevant.
And so since we are students, we want to know if you have any advice for young people trying to break into this industry.
I think the access that you have to equipment and means of recording things is such an advantage. I feel like make something that is uniquely yours. Don't try to fit into a genre or pigeonhole something. If people think it's weird but you really believe in it and you know what it is, do that. Don't try to fit in.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. So I want to know what drew you to this project.
Honestly, I always start from character, and I'd never seen characters like this before, and I was just so excited by how honest the storytelling was, and I'd really wanted to do a movie that was queer, but not in a way that was so prescribed, and I felt like the book was so rich already, but it was such a great opportunity. Shannon, who's the writer, is incredible novelist, and I met her early on, and she really gave me an opportunity to sort of take liberties with her incredible book and, kind of just bring it to life and just really tell a story about home and belonging and how hard it is to kind of live on the margins in America and still have hope,
So I know what the movie is about, but for those who don't, the trailer doesn't give you too much about the plot. Can you tell me a little bit more?
I think the movie is really about two people who meet, Muriel and Julius, and at first they're drawn to each other for reasons they kind of can't explain, and it seems like maybe this is going to be a romance about Julius and Muriel, but the truth is that they both sort of free the other to kind of become the person that they're really supposed to be.
So obviously you've been working on this film for a while, and I want to know, you personally, what would you gamble for love?
What would I gamble for love? Oh, man. I think I would gamble anything for love. I don't think there's anything more important, and I don't think there's anything more steadying than love. I think love is about home, and so I would gamble it all for that.
And since we are students, we want to know some advice that you might have for students trying to break into this industry.
You just got to believe in yourself. I think it's a hard business, and you just have to believe in yourself and be willing to take some knocks. And I think also be really okay with feedback. Be real okay with people giving you notes, even when you don't like them, and saying, okay, maybe I like this about that, maybe I like that about it, but I'm gonna improve. I'm gonna get better, and I'm just gonna keep going, and don't let anything stop you.
How did you get your start in the industry?
How did I get my start? I'm from Detroit, so I didn't have any connections in the industry, and I just sort of drove out to LA, and I was just basically living in my car, and I got lucky. Somebody knew somebody who invited me to a screening, and I got a job working for an executive at Fox for like a summer, and then I wrote a script under a fake name, and I sold it under the fake name. So then I had to like tell them that it was actually me, which was kind of awkward. But that was a lucky break. Yeah.
It was great talking to you. Thank you. If you like that and you want to see more, click here for more of our videos and subscribe.